Section 3. You will hear a student and her tutor discussing an essay. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Come in. Good morning, Rachel. Have you come to talk about your extended essay?
That's right, Dr. Jones. Have I come at a bad time?
No, not at all. This is a good time, in fact.
Good, because I wanted to ask you what you thought about my decision on the subject.
Yes, you initially wanted to write about working conditions in 19th century factories, but you were later contemplating looking at the conditions inside hospitals in 19th century northern towns.
That's right. I thought about it for a long time and weighed up the pros and cons, and I didn't decide for ages.
Well, I think you were right to stick with your first idea. There's so many better sources available on the subject. There are plenty of articles in magazines and the odd TV and radio programme on the other subjects, but everything is rather superficial. There's no real academic knowledge to draw on.
Yes, I found that out. I found lots of books, but nothing really to help me, even on the internet. In the end, when I decided on my first choice topic, I found lots of really good stuff in magazines, books, and the internet. Particularly one book, which is the major reference that you'll see quoted all over the place.
Well, I'm glad you came to that decision. Let's have a look at that essay now.
What did you think? I've spent ages on it, but I'm only about 80% happy with it.
Well, I wouldn't be too down about it. I think most of it is pretty good. I like the introduction, which really set out your ideas clearly. The middle needs some attention, but the end was really first-rate.
What are the areas that need more work then?
The main problem lies with your analysis of the statistics. You quote all the right numbers and you've got lots of fine tables and everything, but you need to look more closely at what the numbers mean and what implications they hold. Look at them again and try and explain more clearly the important parts. After that, you need to have a look at your bibliography, which is a bit shoddy.
Yes, I was afraid of that. I always think that once I've finished the essay, then I'm done, and so I don't put enough care into things like the bibliography. Still, I've plenty of time to get that and the other stuff sorted out.
You've plenty of time, but don't leave it until the last minute, because you'll need to check it all again carefully when you're finished, and it would be a good idea if I looked over it again before its final submission.
The deadline is the 28th of April, so shall I get it to you on the 24th? Will that be okay?
Well, that won't leave you much time to change anything if I find anything else to do. How about a few days earlier than that? The 21st of April? I'll be able to get it back to you the day after, on the 22nd then.
That sounds great. Thank you.
You now have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 27 to 30.
I'd also like to ask you about that presentation that I have to give next month.
Yes, what's the problem?
Well, I've started work on it as I want to do a good job, but I can't seem to find much information on the subject in the library.
OK. I'll jot down some ideas for you then. What subject are you presenting again?
The 3 C's of the Great Reform Act in England in 1832.
Ah, yes, the causes, course and consequences. Well, there should be plenty of material in the library on that, as it's such an important subject.
Well, there should be, but it looks as though some first years are doing an essay on it, and so most of the books are out. I also don't want the run-of-the-mill books. I want my presentation to be a bit more in-depth.
The best book for you would be Great 19th Century Reform by Mark Needham. That book you can't take out. It's in the reference section only. You'll have to read it actually in the library itself. Then there was a great article in History Monthly on the Great Reform Act by Jim Wood. The issue was August 2003, I think. You'll find it in the library stack system.
That's great. Anything else?
Yes, there's another really good book on the subject that looks at the whole thing from a slightly different point of view. I remember when it came out it ruffled a few feathers. It's called Political Reform and it's by Rob Jenkins. The thing is though that I know our library hasn't got it. As you're preparing so far in advance though, you'll be able to order it through interlibrary loan. Just go to the library reception and they'll give you the forms to fill out. It'll come in about a week, I expect.
OK, I'll do that straight away.
Finally, there's the book, Reform and the 19th Century, which I actually wrote. The library used to have a copy, but it's been lost, I think. I've got a copy at home, so I'll bring it in tomorrow. If you pop in tomorrow morning sometime, I'll let you borrow it for a week or so.
Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't know you were an author, Dr. Jones.
Yes, I've done a few things. You'd better not lose it or spill coffee on it or anything though.
I'll take very good care of it. I promise you.
I know you will, or I wouldn't lend it to you. So I'll see you tomorrow then.
Yes. Thanks again. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.